Discover if Veterans Benefits Evaluations fits your needs in our informative call.
I'm alive and kicking. I'm doing pretty good. Thank you. I'm glad it's Friday. Well, thank you for setting up the call. Is now still a good time to meet? You bet. You bet. I got a couple of questions for you. The call is really designed to be a Q&A for you to make sure all your questions are answered, but I got your note and I wanted to ask you a couple questions about that to get started. So you got the evaluation email from us and then turned around and submitted that what we recommended. Is that my understanding? Okay, yeah, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha. Hmm. Gotcha. Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that explains the timeline. So yeah, let me kind of explain what happened and what you can do about it. Um, so you're right, the DBQ got filled out. What happens if you request an increase for migraines and you're just no evidence other than your diagnosis history, your treatment history, you're relying on, there's two different sides to the VA. Or first off, let's back up a little bit. If you go to the VA for care, you're going to the Veterans Health Administration, right? They're the doctors. They're responsible for your treatment, your therapy, your care, your well-being. They'll prescribe the pills, the CPAP machines, all these things, right? But they won't write you a Nexus letter. Okay, so that's the big problem that most veterans face is they're missing a Nexus. You're already service connected for headaches or migraines. But what you did was you just put in an increase at the VBA. So that's the other side of the house, the Veterans Benefits Administration. These aren't the doctors. These are the bureaucrats, right? So what they want to see is, obviously the Nexus statement. But you already satisfied the Nexus, so you're good there. But what happened is you submitted a request for increase and you relied on the same people that gave you a 0% to prove your claim for you. Basically, you're relying on them to say your claim has gotten, your symptoms have gotten worse, or we underrated you out the gate. That's what you're relying on them to do. By working with us, so to be clear, you don't need a DBQ from us. You got a DBQ from that CMP exam, but you saw the results, right? So what you would be doing if you're working with us for a DBQ for headaches or migraines is now you're proving your claim, not just with treatment history, but with the DBQ. That's what the VBA relies on is the results of the DBQ. So if you're working with us, you're going outside the VA system. You're getting your own doctor to fill out the DBQ for you. And then that way, if you qualify for, say, the 50% award, this ensures that you get the 50% award. And now you've moved yourself in the position of offense. You've already proved your claim. You submit that evidence. Now you put the VA, the VBA, in the position of defense. Now they're having to disprove that you either A, haven't gotten worse, or B, you were underrated from Jump Street, right? So that you put them in the position of disproving your claim. It's a much better position for you to be in. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Yeah. So they have access to TRICARE records. The VA does. VBA does. Yeah. So that's fine. So they're looking at your treatment history, and but then the treatment history establishes what you've already done. It's service connected, and you have the condition. So it's chronic. So you've already established that. What you're trying to do is get an increase. So the DBQ is the probably the feather that's going to tip the scale in your favor. Um, if you're relying on the VBA to fill out the DBQ for you, you see the result. If you get one externally, now you've already proven your claim, basically. Okay. Um, Now then on the lower back, the radiculopathy claim, likely you need a nexus letter for that. Just because you have a diagnosis doesn't mean you have a nexus. Like I said earlier, the VHA or your private medical provider won't provide you with a nexus. They won't. Right? That's why we exist, is because local doctors don't want to get tangled up with the VA. And who can blame them? We don't want to mess with the VA, So it's fair, but that leaves you stuck, right? Because you need a nexus to win the claim. The two things you need to win a claim is a diagnosis and a nexus. They're two separate things. You need both. So the radiculopathy, we can write you a nexus letter for that. It'll be secondary to your back, everything going on with your back, all two or three conditions you got going on with your back. It would be a nexus letter connecting the radiculopathy to your back. So then you'd be in the appeals lane, you'd be able to file a supplemental claim, win that, and then it would go back to, so you're keeping the claim alive, and it's going back to that last October intent to file that you started. So you'd get back pay all the way back to October if it changes your rating. So likely moving the migraines from 0 to 50 would take you to 90, and then the radiculopathy, I mean, it's going to help, but it won't take you from 90 to 100. I can do the math. I can do the math to make sure. Okay, so let's just do the math real quick. So let's go 70, 20, 20, 10. So you're actually at 82.7% is your actual raw score. So they pay you out at 80. And then move the migraines to 50. Takes you to 91.4%. So they would pay you at 90. Now you're talking about moving the back to 40. What I was talking about was getting the radiculopathy service connected. So are you saying you want to submit a request for increase on your back and do the radiculopathy claim and get it service connected, or are you just lumping everything? Okay, okay, okay. So got it. Okay. So we can write you the radiculopathy nexus. We can't write you a DBQ for your back because it's telemedicine. So we won't be able to do the goyometer or range of motion test or any of that thing because you'll never be in the same room as my doctor, right? It's telehealth. So you're stuck kind of on your 20% for back doing the same thing you did for previously for your headaches in your back because we're it's an unfortunate situation where we just can't help you with that one. We can help you with the headaches, but not with your back. Now we can help you with the radiculopathy. So that would be like getting an increase. What you could do is request that increase, submit the radiculopathy claim as a new one secondary to your back. Um, Probably what they would do is just shut down the increase because you have no new evidence, but they could see the radiculopathy claim as new evidence and then reconsider your back as well and see you for the radiculopathy. If you win that 10% bilaterally, let's see what that does. You're at 91.4 and then win that radiculopathy bilaterally basically takes you to 92.3. So you're still at 90. So the radiculopathy doesn't do much for you. So if you didn't want to pursue that, I understand. Then if we change the back from 20 to 40, which is what you were trying to do, that basically, so we've already, it's 93. Right, right. Mhm. Oh, okay. So typically, most veterans end up at either 50 or 70% for mental health. Okay, so you're already at where most are. If you wanted to go forward with us with a mental health evaluation and get the evidence you need to increase it to 100, we can certainly do that. I wanted to have a conversation with you about it first, because it's $847 to do the mental health evaluation. And then the rating schedule for mental health, it's a pretty high bar to get to 100%. So have you looked at that and determined that you qualify for the 100% rating? Yeah, right. A lot. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's rough. So, so yeah, you would need to be prepared for that again, basically, because the evidence package that we write for you could remove all of that talking about it a lot, but you're going to talk to my psychologist about it, right? So then you're opening that up. And then the evidence package that you get from us should be everything the VA needs to decide a claim. But you know how the VA is, right? You submit this evidence package legally according to the CFR. They can just decide your claim based on the evidence package. But what do? They order CMP exams. So if you go through another CMP exam for your mental health, you're going to talk about it a lot and a lot and a lot, right? So if you want to go, so there's nothing keeping you. I've sent you the link to my website, to the VBE website. And if you wanted to put a mental health evaluation in your cart and check out and get that package and submit that claim, there's nothing stopping you. I just wanted to talk to you about it first because I would urge you to look at the threshold to be awarded a 100% gain. Make sure you qualify for that before you pay for it. Correct. So once you hit the 5-year mark, the VA cannot reduce your rating based on a single bad medical exam or temporary improvement in your symptoms. Um, what you've done is you've proven you're stable. Your rating is stabilized once you hit that 5-year mark. So then now you're free to like file the claim if something, if you have a bad medical, quote unquote, bad medical exam that would potentially reduce your rating, they won't just reduce it for one bad medical exam. That's the 5-year rule. Okay, so it's designed to keep you stable. But yes, anytime you file a claim, you could potentially get reduced. I would recommend separating those. Yeah. So I would do the migraines now and get moved to 90. And then now you're at 90, you're drawing that pay. It's a relatively inexpensive investment of $347. And you'd be reaping the benefits of that between now and May, or whenever you decide to finally pursue an increase on mental health. Um, so that would be a great plan to do it that way. Break them up, have a little bit of air between the claims, but get that 90%. Hmm. Yeah, you could. Yeah. But remember, so the math, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, it changes your, right, right. Yeah. So, I mean, the investment, I mean, it helps, but it doesn't bring any returns like the migraines claim or the mental health claim would, right? So it's kind of a secondary concern, I would say. So the instructions will be on the screen. So once you go forward, it's a red light, green light dashboard, basically. If we need something from you, you've got a red light next to it. If you've satisfied the requirement, there's a green light. So typically what you're going to need to show is just what your service connected for. And then you're going to fill out our um, migraines screener, basically, to talk about your migraines, and then that works as an intake form. So then that gives my doctor the talking points, the basis for your claim file. Then you have the phone interview, and then that's what gets it done. So chances are you're not going to need too much. Most of it's probably easily downloaded from TRICARE. If you do need anything, it won't be too much. DD214 and a copy of what your service connected for, and then it'll be a dashboard on our website. So you'll have a secure folder in there where you would upload anything you want us to look at. Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm your point man for questions. So if you've got questions at any time during this process, just text me or email me. Send me a note. I'll take care of you. You bet. You bet. Absolutely. Good. Good. Well, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad it helped. Um, let's see. I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you. Nope. So correct. Yeah. So that's next steps. Whenever you're ready to go, click on that link, make your account, put the DBQ in your shopping cart, and then check out. The instructions will always be on the screen at that point. And then, like I said, if you do get stuck, just send me a note. I answer all my texts and emails during business hours between calls. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what was the other thing? The one way to think about, so since you're kind of breaking up your claims because the timing makes sense for you to do it that way, I would urge you to just think about us as another tool in your toolbox. So you use us when you need the medical evidence. And then everything else is kind of, you know, you don't need us for everything else, right? So that may help think how to think about us and when to use us. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, well, I will let you go. Thank you for the time today and have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend. All right, thanks. Bye.